Right, hello, welcome to this live chat for the Master's Programmes at the University of Glasgow in the subject area of classics. My name, as you can see, is Adrastos Omissi, and I'll be leading this session. It's a slightly strange experience in that you can see all of us, but we can't see you. So I hope everyone can hear me, and do feed us your comments and questions as we go through. We'll start, I think, by doing some introductions, and I'm just gonna, I'll work around first of all, our student panelists in the order that I can see them. So Kat, would you mind saying hello first of all?
Hello.
and giving a little introduction to yourself as well.
My name's Kat. I am a postgraduate taught student in classics and ancient history at Glasgow. I'm doing it part-time, so over 2 years. So it's a little bit different than most people. And I'm loving it.
That's what we like to hear. And you're also an undergrad with us as well, weren't you? That might be useful.
I was indeed. You can't get rid of me.
Thank you. Right, Megan.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan. I am a postgraduate taught student in ancient cultures here. I am full-time and loving it here too.
Great, thank you. Tom.
Yes, hello, my name is Tom. I did my undergrad at Glasgow as well in classics, although I was a bit older than everyone else. I think I was 32 when I started. And then I did the Ancient Cultures course with Angela. I'm now finished and I'm doing a PhD also at Glasgow in classics.
Great, thank you. And Jonah.
Hi everyone, as you can see, my name is Jonah Searchman-Gold. I am a postgraduate taught student. I'm doing ancient cultures. I did my undergraduate at Glasgow Caledonian, so just across the city, in politics and history.
And Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm doing the Classics and Ancient History Masters. I'm from Portugal originally, and I did my undergrad there in history.
Great, wonderful. And then to introduce the two conveners, as I say, my name is Dr Adrastos Omissi. I am the postgraduate convener in classics, and I also convene the specific program, the specific Masters Classics and Ancient History, and my colleague Angela McDonald.
Hi there, everybody. So yes, I'm the convener of the MSc in Ancient Cultures, and yeah, I don't know, Adrastos, did you want me to say a little bit about the program just now, or just to introduce myself?
I think let's just leave it there for the moment, and because we'll dig into the programs as we go through.
Awesome. Okay.
Great. Okay, in which case we were discussing just before where best to start our discussion today, and it struck me that a useful first question to ask all of our student panelists today that would be of interest to potential applicants is what you wish you'd known this time last year, like any insight or piece of information that you think would be a very valuable thing for applicants to have. We won't, for every question, get answers from everybody, but for this one, I think, again, it might be good to go around the group. So, Kat, again, what do you wish you knew this time last year?
I wish that I'd known that there were incredibly interesting research seminars every lunchtime during the semester on Wednesdays, and I'd scheduled other things slightly more aptly around that so I could go to all of them.
Great, thank you. Megan.
I think I wish I'd known to honestly like pack clothes differently. I made the unfortunate choice to bring all of my summertime clothes out here, so shorts, t-shirts, and tank tops, and I had no waterproof shoes, no rain jacket, no nothing. So I think probably would have chosen a little bit differently in terms of priorities in that regard.
Yes, it's not a dry city, Glasgow.
No, it's not.
No. Where is it you're from in the States, Megan?
I'm originally from Colorado, so we get mainly snow. We have some rain, but it's been really dry this year, unfortunately. So
Jenna.
So a bit less substantial than everyone else, but I just wish that I'd known how much I was going to love the course. I was quite anxious over the summer. I distinctly remember pestering Angela quite frequently with emails to try and make sure that I was at the level that I perceived that I had to be at to start the course. But everyone was so amazing. Everyone's dead friendly. Like I says, I don't have a classics background. Everyone's been super supportive, and yeah, I just wish that I'd known that, so I wouldn't have to spend last summer all twisted up my knot.
Anna, please.
Honestly, I'm with Megan because in Porto it rains a lot, but I just wasn't ready for the amount of rain that's over here and the cold. Because I brought winter clothes. I needed more.
Yeah, it's the trouble that we start into the worst part of the year. I promise we do get a summer as well. And finally, Tom, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just wish I had known how much I would learn within such a short period of time. After my undergrad at Glasgow in classics, I was a bit nervous. I didn't know whether I wanted to do the classics program or whether I wanted to do the ancient cultures program. I just knew I wanted to continue, and I was nervous about material culture because classics is not so heavy on that. And then Angela asked if I wanted to come along to one of the handling sessions, and I instantly fell in love with it. And it was the best choice I could have made, because now I've had that training in art historical matters, and I use this all the time now in my research. So it's wonderful.
Great, thank you. A couple of you were talking about sort of your. I mean, this is actually an interesting question for me to hear your answers as well. I mean, a couple of you have talked a bit about your backgrounds. I wonder if anyone would be willing to speak about how it was that you sort of came to choose the program, what your interests were, and I suppose as well how well those interests have been served by the program. As I say, from now on, we might not maybe go around everybody, but Jonah, was that, would you wanting to?
I think that's me getting picked on early, but you know what, we'll go with it. So like I mentioned, my undergraduate was in politics and history, but I have spent a large part of my life being fascinated with all periods of history, particularly when I was younger. I'm not sure if any of our panelists or people that are watching have heard of horrible histories, but I read a lot of horrible histories when I was a child, a lot. And yeah, it just encouraged a real passion in me. So I did politics and history. Unfortunately, most of the history I did was kind of the post Peace of Westphalia, so a lot of kind of like, Renaissance and all that jazz kind of type stuff. But when it came time for me to make a decision about what my next steps were going to be, I knew that I wanted to follow my passion, which has always been, ancient history, classics. Again, that's probably part of the reason I was so daunted over the summer, knowing that I was going to pick up, basically a completely new topic. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from. It's been a kind of lifelong passion of mine that I am finally getting to be able to feed properly in an academic setting, and I've absolutely loved it. As an ancient culture student, we get to do a lot of handling sessions as well, so I've been able to get my hands on some really, really incredibly cool things that last year, if you told me, Jonah, you're going to be looking at this, I would have laughed at you. But here I am a year later, and I've had all these experiences, so yeah, I would absolutely say that the course has met my needs and desires.
I'm glad to hear that. Go on, give us some specifics as well. Again, just as much as anything, I'm interested. What's the most exciting thing you've had your hands on in the handling sessions?
We've done a lot of numismatics. We've done a lot of coin stuff. I think probably my favourite ones I got to hold the Ides of March coin, Brutus, just after the assassination of Caesar. In a coin handling station just 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that's probably that one. And there was a early Republican denarius that was really, really small. We seen just last week, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic because it's just in almost pristine condition, and to look at it and think, wow, this comes from like the period of the Second Punic War was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should mention that we're absolutely blessed in the University of Glasgow with one of the world's best coin collections. So our numismatics here are just amazing to get to grips with. So we try to make the most of that in handling sessions.
I wondered, certainly I'd be interested to hear from our international students as well on that question, sort of what your what your interests were and what brought you to this course. Maybe we could start with Anna. I mean, how was it that you sort of came across Glasgow, and why did it particularly sort of catch your interest?
I did history in my undergrad, but back in Portugal, we don't really do classical history. It's very limited. So unless you're doing archaeology, and I didn't want to do archaeology. So I knew I needed to go outside the country to actually study classics, because it's a period of time I really wanted to study and I really loved. And Portugal gets very hot, so I wanted to come north. So I searched for universities in the UK, in Ireland, France, and I came across Glasgow, and I really liked the program when I look at it, like the courses online. So I tried for Glasgow and got in.
Great stuff. And Megan?
Yeah, so I actually have a background in international politics and ethics and legal studies. So I have a very different background. I did not study history, but I had a fascination with Middle Eastern culture. That was an emphasis that I had in my international politics side of things. And I've always really loved the study of Egyptology. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Kane Chronicles, which is basically like I argue it's the better Percy Jackson series, but it's written by the same author, and it's all about Egyptian mythology. And I just loved that growing up, so I wanted to continue my passion into that, and I had no idea what to do. So I started looking everywhere, and I didn't really want to stay back in the States. I was looking into just some of the programs there, and there wasn't anything that was kind of piquing my interest. And I came across Glasgow, and I really liked the hands-on aspect of the Ancient Cultures program. And I thought that would be really cool and a really interesting way to just get some hands-on experience with it without having to do the archaeology side of things. And so that's kind of how I got to be here, essentially. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. I thought I'd maybe ask a slightly more practical question now, which is about sort of working patterns and workloads. How have you found the workload here at Glasgow? Again, I suppose are there things that it's taken you a while to, things you wish you knew, or things that it's taken a while to get used to? And perhaps you could give a little bit of a flavour of what your week is like as well. Maybe we could start, since we haven't heard from you, Kat, if you could give us, you're obviously on a part-time course, so your week's going to look a little bit different from everybody else's. But yeah, what's the work like, and how have you found it as a student?
So yeah, so my workload is exactly half. So the way that would work in 1 year is 6 kind of elective courses, and then your dissertation in the summer. So I'll be 3 in my first year, and then 3 in my second year, and then my dissertation in my second summer. The workload is higher than undergraduate. Assessments are longer and harder, I think, but it's manageable for sure. I'm working part-time as well. That's why I'm doing it part-time. So I am in university on Mondays and Wednesdays, study on Tuesdays, and then I work Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So it works out pretty well for part-time.
Can I jump in there? We've got a wee question in the chat about some specifics of the programs and how they work. So for the classics program, what are the language options and levels? And are there any specifics in Greek? So, for example, something with a Homeric focus or an Attic focus.
Before we run that, I should have thought to ask you guys before we started, who is doing languages with us of our students today? None of you at the moment.
No, Megan is.
I am.
I'm sorry, Megan, I didn't see. Sorry, your name was covering your. I know that Tom, you did the languages because I remember teaching you. What are you studying at the moment, Megan?
I'm studying hieroglyphs with Angela.
Aha. So we've got no. Tom, did you do Greek with us, but at undergraduate?
I did Latin, Greek, and Biblical Hebrew as well.
Oh, I didn't know you'd done Hebrew. I mean, I can give a little bit of an answer to any specifics in Greek, i.e. Homeric focus, Attic focus. We teach mostly Attic Greek, I think I'm right. So sorry, I'm a Roman historian, so I steer well clear of teaching Greek. Angela, you don't teach Greek with us either, do you?
No, but you're right. I think it's an Attic focus there. So and we have both beginners courses. So if anybody out there is interested in picking up an ancient language, then you can do that as a postgraduate coming in, take something from scratch. So we've got a beginner's Greek course, but we also have varying levels of languages as well. So if you've got Greek already, so for example, Tom, if you were looking to kind of build upon undergraduate knowledge, then you could come in and take a more advanced courses. And then of course we have our we have what I always think is really exciting. So we have some opportunities to study some topics in the original language, at least at the moment. So yeah, there's various options for studying language. So you could reach out to Adrastos or myself if you're interested in any kind of language options and making that part. We should maybe have said that within the programs, both of our programs are very much tailored to individual student interests. So there are core courses that you take, 2 of them for ancient cultures and 1 of them for classics and ancient history, right? But then beyond that, Kat was mentioning that you do 6 courses all in all across your 2 semesters in Glasgow. And it's up to you to decide what you would like to take. So if you want to kind of go down a language route, then you absolutely can. We also have quite a flexible project-based course that you can take. So if you wanted to read something specific, language-wise, if you wanted to get into a particular text, for example, then you could take that course and pursue that kind of on an individual basis. So we're really interested in helping you tailor your program. So it's not just one set thing. So Megan's program, Jonah's program, Anna's and Kat's will all look slightly different, even within their cohorts. So lots of ability to tailor, I think.
Yeah, on that topic as well. I mean, one of the something that all the programs share in common is a dissertation, which you guys will be coming up to, but haven't really actually started the core research of yet. I mean, how have people found developing your ideas for your dissertation? And did you come with a set idea about what you wanted to study for a dissertation, or have you developed something across the semester, across the year? I beg your pardon. Maybe I'll jump in on Jonah again. Maybe we start with Jonah.
Absolutely not. I did not come in with any idea, any clue about what this was going to take, where it was going to take me. I've had to kind of find my feet in the first semester. I was actually taught in the first semester by both Adrastos and Angela. Angela did one of my core modules. Adrastos, I was in for the end of the Western Roman Empire. So going through those classes and my own individual research has kind of sparked a fire and kind of directed where I'm going to go with my dissertation. I've got 2 ideas that I think are pretty good. I've had a conversation with Adrastos before about research stuff. I've had conversations with other members of faculty as well. Everyone's really open. If you've got an idea, they're willing to hear it, and if they can support you, they absolutely will support you. But it's a bit terrifying to think that the dissertation is coming slowly but very quickly right at you.
No, well,
Yes,
it's sorry, it's about this time that for ancient cultures certainly that you begin to let your ideas crystallize. So we want you to do exactly as you've said, sort of take in all the twists and turns of the first semester and the second semester, and then get that nice developed idea of where you want to go. So I'd say it's, from my experience, it's a little rarer for people to know what they want to do in advance, but maybe some of you guys will contradict me on that.
Well, I was gonna jump to Anna here because I know that we had conversations in the autumn about your dissertation, Anna, and it certainly felt from the outside like you had some quite clear ideas about it. Would I be right in
Yes,
saying that, or did you do a very good impression of someone that had clear ideas about it?
No, I started last semester we did the research proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with the idea of working on death. I didn't have a specific idea what I wanted to do with it, but I wanted to look at one aspect. And I did my research proposal within that. And then I realized I wanted to change, not really the topic, because I still wanted to work on that, but I'd like to do something slightly different. So I changed from doing something more literary based and text based to talking with Elizabeth to do objects. So I'm doing Greek. So I'm doing like representations of things related to death, probably mythological, in those spaces. So I kept the theme, but I changed the approach.
Yeah, I lost your audio for a little minute there, and just in case people in the chat did as well, I actually managed to miss your exact topic. Would you mind just saying it again, just in case other people had the same audio glitch I did?
Of death, probably mythological, in those spaces.
Yeah, and I mean you're well served in that. Elizabeth is Elizabeth knows her Greek vases, doesn't she? Where had we got to? Megan, again, I wondered if you know how you found so far the experience of selecting a dissertation topic. And
yeah, it's definitely been a little bit of a roller coaster. I came in really interested in the mummification process in the Book of the Dead was kind of the two things that I really stuck to. But since we've had time to go throughout our just our courses, I actually really enjoyed. I took a course on Cleopatra last term, and I'm taking an archaeology course this term. But our core course started making me question what I wanted to do, and as I started researching more about these different deities throughout the ancient Near East and in Egypt, the ideas have just started kind of brewing, and I definitely find I guess developing the ideas after the fact a lot more useful in terms of what we've done, because I wouldn't have thought of anything like looking into different deities if I hadn't had hands-on experience with some of the objects, or just being able to see some of the texts that we have looked at in the hieroglyphs course too. So it's been nice. I also know I'm one of the student reps for the Ancient Cultures department too, and I have had some talks with other people, and there's a lot of back and forth in terms of the dissertations, just because there are a lot of stresses and anxieties about it. It's such a big chunk, and but the one thing that people have been really consistent on is everybody here is just so helpful. The faculty is just super nice to be able to chat with, and to just even sit down as early as last term to be able to discuss it, even though it's not really standard for ancient cultures.
And a follow-on that I would have from that, and something that's been coming up in a couple of the responses there. I mean, and I'll throw this open to anyone, but it sounds like you're all feeling that there's quite a lot of flexibility in the course. Would that be fair? And is it easy to kind of change your direction as you're moving through the course? That you don't have to sort of follow a set track.
I've got a good anecdote for that. So I started off the course wanting to write my dissertation on suicide in antiquity, and the course requires a comparative approach. So I wanted to compare suicide in Greco-Roman antiquity to what we see in the Bible. And I actually managed to get a course that was completely tailored to that research interest with TRS, or the Theology and Religious Studies, where I researched suicide in the Bible. And finally, while I was doing that course, I realized that this is not what I wanted to do my dissertation on at all. So there was that flexibility. And in the end, I did my dissertation on something completely different, on caves in Virgil and in Roman art. And it was, I understand that people are always very nervous about the dissertations, but for me, it was the most profound experience in my 5 years at university. I don't think I've ever done anything else that taught me so much in such a short period of time. It was a really, really good experience. It's tough, but it was a really good experience. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Any other, before we move on from that one, I mean, did anyone else want to say anything to the flexibility or otherwise? Yeah, Jonah.
I was just going to add before I had to drop out for a wee second, is that something that I've found helpful is that when we're doing our postgraduate stuff, doing our modules, we are usually encouraged to find our own essay questions for our assessments for the modules. And for me, that's proved a source of inspiration for some dissertation ideas. An essay that I did last semester, I have kind of taken a bit of it and have looked into it a bit further, and I think I can kind of graft that into a dissertation. So yeah, it's not something you'll have to do in isolation. You know, it's not like it's like, right, okay, starting gun, March till August, here you go. It's something that can kind of percolate over a period of a semester, 2 semesters. And I've been stressing out about it, but I would encourage everyone else to kind of try not to stress out, because I agree with Tom. It's going to be, I've not done it yet, but I think it's going to be a really, really fantastic experience. I'm actually really, really looking forward to starting.
Good. If I can jump in there with my oar as well, just to say that certainly just thinking about Tom's dissertation is something that's kind of done and dusted. You the rest of you are all just beginning this process, but it took a while to kind of narrow down exactly where you wanted to go, Tom, right? Whereas part of the process is this wonderful kind of organic unfolding of your topic, that you discover pockets of it that you didn't think were going to be particularly, important, that suddenly become really important. And your dissertation can flex towards that, towards areas that really grab you, and that you want to make more of. And equally, if there are kind of dead ends that you hit, then you can deal with those. So even at the stage where, certainly for my students in ancient cultures just now, where you're submitting kind of proposed plans, before that gets kind of locked in as a place to start, be reassured that the process still gives you that flexibility to move in and around your topics. And some of the best dissertations over the last few years, so Tom's is certainly one of them, have done that, have moved quite flexibly, and as I say, organically. So it shouldn't be something that you worry about. And I think the other thing that's nice to mention in terms of the way that our courses are structured is that you meet all kinds of members of staff. So particularly for, I know theories and methods, Adrastos can talk more specifically to that than I can, but ancient cultures as well, we're deliberately putting you in the path of archaeologists and people who do Celtic civilization, Greek specialists, Roman specialists, Egyptologists like myself. So you have those connections building, so you can go and kind of approach people and pick up on ideas and threats and investigate. So hopefully it's nice to hear you saying that you feel that the support is there to help you build your topics. You're not on your own with that, certainly. And it is a process that can keep unfolding. So,
I mean, sort of staying with that topic and thinking a little bit about community and stuff, a question Angela was just talking about, the sort of formal ways that we introduce you to other parts of the discipline to archaeology. Tom, you were mentioning religious studies, theology and religious studies. What are your communities like here at Glasgow? I mean, are the people you're interacting with on a daily basis mostly from within classics, or are you also mingling with other people in the university? I mean, again, I'll throw this open to anyone that would like to speak to it. Yeah, go on, Jenna.
I mean, I meet so many people every day, so many people every day for so many different topics. So last semester, as I mentioned, I did the end of the Western Roman Empire with Adrastos, but I also did an archaeology course, conflict archaeology, called The Art of War. I've met two pals, two friends from that course who I still kind of meet with basically once or twice every couple of weeks. And we go out and we have a wee drink. That's obviously out with classics. I've got people that I've met through Ancient Cultures who are good friends in the space of 6 months. I've met some of your classics and ancient history people. Me and Anna do a group together for one of the other members of faculty. And I'm also doing a course in Celtic stuff. So I've met a lot of people that do the Celtic side of things. So I think that it is a lot of mixing with a lot of different disciplines, and I think anyone can find something that's going to interest them here, to be perfectly frank. You meet a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and everyone's been really nice to me anyways.
I can jump on it too. Just talking a little bit about the community outside of the university as well, because I've been really fortunate to meet a lot of great people outside of the university just by going to the gym, going bouldering. There are so many people that I run into when I'm going to the university gym, and I just say hi and we chat a little bit, and inviting them to go bouldering with me. So there's a lot of opportunities to just meet new people, and there's a lot of groups out here too to find specific niches as well. There's an ADHD meetup group that takes place outside of the university. There's bouldering clubs, there's movie clubs, and so I feel like there's just so many people to meet here, and everybody just wants to talk and have fun and have friends, which is really nice.
We could maybe, if you don't mind me jumping in again, we could talk a little bit about the New Library of Alexandria group as well, which is something so within classics kind of for the moment, but not necessarily tied to academic study.
Yeah, the New Library of Alexandria has been a really good opportunity to bring everybody from classics and ancient cultures together to be able to be creative is the best way to describe it. We've had just a lot of meetings so far where we've just sat and chatted. We've gone to one of the restaurants nearby and hung out with each other. I mean, even tomorrow we're actually getting together for a little craft night, which is going to be fun.
Megan, hang on, could I take you one step back? Could you tell the audience what the New Library of Alexandria is?
Yeah, sorry. So the New Library of Alexandria is basically, it's just a group of students within the classics cohort that are finding a way to be intentional in ways to get together to be creative within our discipline. So so for example, there is one of our cohorts has been thinking about making a crochet tapestry that's depicting the murder of the assassination of Caesar, which is really cool. And I'm still crossing my fingers and hoping she does it. Or for myself, I'm actually planning on making different tea blends that are aimed with specific deities within the Egyptian pantheon. Not too sure if that's going to be true or not. It's still flexible, but it's just, honestly, it's a really good opportunity to also just get together and to kind of de-stress. Assignments can be a lot, and it's easy to just get bogged down by the things, but we tend to just get together and kind of chill out a little bit. It's also been good for us to be able to invite people that are outside of the university or within the university to just be able to talk on their specialties. So we've had Margaret Maitland come. She's the National Museum curator for the Mediterranean and Egyptology side of it. I'm probably totally butchering that. She spoke to us. We also had Yulia. I'm completely missing her last name.
Kolovu.
Yeah. So she came and she spoke to us about doing historical fiction writing, which I'm also butchering the genre, but just kind of giving us some opportunities to be able to explore different avenues in which we can use our degrees and what we're studying.
Yeah, we've been running that. New Library of Alexandria has been running for, this is its 3rd year now. So, and we've had some fantastic projects that we're in the process of trying to pull together and curate and kind of present to the outside world. So watch this space for that. So you guys, maybe Megan, we can sell your teas. I think there's definitely a market for that. We've got another question that's popped up. So this is one for me. Any courses offered that touch upon Vikings? Vikings are tricky because as far as ancient cultures are concerned, they're too modern. So we draw our temporal cut-off line somewhere in late antiquity, and we don't tend to. So Vikings are a little bit beyond our line. We have had people who've done Viking-related courses, so that sort of thing is offered through archaeology. They have some excellent Viking specialists there. So that could be an optional course that you take. We would have to negotiate a little bit if you wanted to kind of go down a Vikings route for say your dissertation. But yeah, it's not out with the realms of possibility. We had a brilliant dissertation a few years ago that looked at gaming and the materiality of gaming from the ancient world. And so because it was coming through a materiality route and that touches upon the archaeology strand in ancient cultures, that was allowed. And of course we have people interested in doing classical reception, which takes you a little bit beyond our kind of traditional temporal cutoff point. But yeah, I mean, the rule of thumb is if you've got any questions about, you know, where the parameters are, then you can always reach out to Adrastos or myself and ask. Okay.
Another question I did want to put specifically to Tom, and I'll get it in now because I don't want to miss it. Like Tom, you've been with us for a while. You've been undergraduate and then you did your master's and now you're doing a PhD. I wondered if you'd be willing to talk a little bit about how you found those two different transitions from undergraduate to postgraduate and then from postgraduate taught to postgraduate research and what that's been like.
So I think regarding both of these transitions, I've had really well prepared for both of them, especially now in my PhD. I do a lot of philological research, but also I need to deal with material culture and going through the ancient cultures course, because the first semester is textual, isn't it, Anja? Is that still the case? It's just textual evidence, and then the second semester is material culture. So that's exactly what I needed in order to now be able to do my research. So yeah, that was really fantastic. And I would say the same for the other transition as well, from undergrad to postgrad. Yeah.
Great. What about the research seminars? I mean, what have people's experience been of the extent, Kat, you mentioned it before, the extent to which you're able to engage with a wider research community here at Glasgow? I mean, since I've thrown you under the bus here, I don't know if you wanted to start us off.
Yeah, sure. So I have found them fascinating. I managed to go to last semester than this semester. But they've been one of my favourite parts, all these amazing people who study amazing things. And sometimes only tangentially connected to maybe what we would consider to be classics, and other times full-blown connected to sort of traditional aspects. But yeah, I've met some wonderful people, so very exciting. A few I've emailed and found out more, and it's been exciting in all respects, really. It's been good.
I wondered as well, I mean, how much experience or how much opportunity have you had within the courses to make connections outside the university, like wider UK or other universities in Europe or America or whatever? I don't know if this is something that anyone has new views on. No, if that one's dead in the water. Oh, we have a question in the chat as well. What courses would students suggest that seem to have high crossover with other courses you've taken in postgraduate? What text seems to keep coming up between courses? Okay, so this is possibly also thinking about things to prepare for and so on. I mean, are there... My feeling is that the courses are so varied that there isn't any particular through line, but I don't know if other people have views they'd like to share.
The only thing I can think of is Caesar, because Adrastos, we read that in Roman warfare in Latin, and then we also looked at that in a seminar because I think, I hope I'm not telling rubbish here, but I think in Celtic studies, the only real textual evidence that we have comes from Caesar, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah. So that's a text that we read several times. Yeah.
Sorry, Jonah, did you want to add something as well?
Yeah, I was just going to say that for the most part, the courses are very disparate and very varied in their reading. It's usually very focused in the period and the context that you'll be studying within that module. So, for example, I've done 2 Roman modules. One's last semester, one this semester. One is late imperial, which I did with Adrastos. So we touched on, a lot of hagiographies, chronicles, elements like that. Whereas at the minute I'm looking at late Republican history, and that is, Caesar's writings, Cicero's, etc., etc. So it really depends on where your interests are going to take you, I would say. I would also agree with Tom. I think the Gallic Wars is maybe the only text that I've had to read across multiple modules, I think. But outside of that, it's been a very... For the primary sources, for the ancient evidence, it's very, very varied.
I wonder about, so Anna.
Oh, and Anna, I'll stop you just for a second, Angela, because Anna has a hand up on this one.
In terms of text, I did read the same text in 2 different courses because it was Sappho's poems. We came across it in Angela's Women in Power and Omer and his readers last semester. But in terms of theme, I think there's a thing I really like about Glasgow, because last semester I did Women and Witches and Witchcraft, and this semester I'm doing Women in Power. And I know that last semester we also had Cleopatra by Jane, class by Jane. So we can actually focus a lot on the women's part of history in Glasgow, and I really like that. That's a thing that I really enjoyed doing in Glasgow.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to prompt you on, because I wondered if you'd had. I suspected you'd done. I wondered about Cleopatra, but Women and Witches, I think I knew that you'd done, and then that chimes with what we're doing. I would say that touches upon Women in Power, touches upon some of the elements that we're doing in the core course as well for ancient cultures. So there are strands that run across. But and you can, I suppose the easy answer to the question is you can seek them out if you would like, if you want to kind of build that specialism in a particular area. So yeah.
Another question that came to my mind that will be useful for people thinking about coming to Glasgow is what your experiences of Glasgow have been. What is Glasgow like as a place to both study and to live in? We've already discussed the fact that it's very cold and wet, so I want comments that don't relate to the fact that it's very cold and wet here. Megan, I mean, since you've probably come the furthest to be with us, would you be willing to kick us off here?
Yeah, I mean, I will just start by saying I love it. It's probably one of the favorite places that I've lived in, visited, just one of those. It's super safe. It's a really big difference for me from where I was living. And Angela and I have kind of briefly talked about this. But just to be able to go out and walk around at night is wild to me. I'm able to just walk down the street, go back home from the gym late at night. I've been to concerts here, and I mean, I haven't really run into any safety issues, which is just a really wonderful thing. even just the quality of life thing, I feel like there's a lot more opportunities to move. And as somebody who loves to be active and who loves to move, being able to walk everywhere has been really nice. And especially like because the train system and the subway are very accessible, they're cheap too. I've also lived in New York City, which is not cheap, not very accessible, not very safe. So it's kind of a night and day difference. But there's a lot of opportunities here, I feel like, just to go out and kind of have fun, to explore, and everything's so close in proximity too. Taking the train to Edinburgh is really easy. I took a trip over the Christmas break to go to Malta, actually. And we went and explored there with my fiance, so that was fun. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy living here. It's a blast. And we do get a lot more sun than we have been talking about. There has been really nice days recently.
I mean, let's keep on with this for a second. I mean, those that are studying here closer to home as well. I mean, Jonah, again, I'll pick on you. What's because you grew up just outside Glasgow, is that right?
Spot on,
Yeah.
yes. I'm from a wee town called Hamilton, basically just a satellite town. So I'm like 20 minutes away from Glasgow city centre itself. The West End, where the university is a wee bit out from the centre, but by absolutely no stretch is it far. I've lived here my entire life. I now stay near the university, and I similarly love it. I absolutely love it. I don't think I will leave the city for a good few years. In terms, I mean, obviously, if I have to move somewhere else for future research, I would like to stay in like a city setting. But Glasgow itself, you know, maybe I'm speaking because I'm biased, but everybody is dead friendly. You know, people will strike up conversation with you in the streets. I've never had any real problem in my 28 years of living in the vicinity, you know, outside of your childish stuff when you're away or a bairn. But yeah, I love it. Also, the West End is absolutely jam-packed with basically everything you can need. There's restaurants, there's cafes, you know, anything that you might think, God, I just need to get out, walk about, see people, socialise. It is literally on your doorstep. And yeah, I love it. And I think Megan might have over-egged the sunshine, but we are definitely getting to the period where there is going to be a lot more sun. No air conditioning, no. Remember that. There's no air conditioning in Scotland, so it can get a bit muggy. But yeah, I love it, as you can probably tell from my accent.
Another question I do want to make sure we get in within our time, and this is a question I know because I remember it from my student days. This is a question that every student hates to be asked, but I think I'd like to go around and ask you all what your plans are for when you finish, what you think you're aiming to do with this degree. I'll pick on you all if I may. And I'll just go in the order that I have you on my screen. So again, I'll be starting with Megan. Yeah, what are you hoping to do with this degree?
Well, I'm hoping to transition into getting a PhD. I've been talking with Angela about it, still hoping to continue forward with that plan. But ultimately, in the end, I'd like to do research and become a professor. I really enjoy teaching. I'd love the opportunity to be able to teach and just be able to dig into that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anna?
Okay,
Oh, Anna, there we go.
I'm gonna leave Glasgow at the end of the year, probably because since I'm from Portugal, it's just easier to go to European Union country instead of staying here because of the visas. But I like to go somewhere else and maybe work on a museum or something related to that because I still want to be involved in history even if I leave the academia.
And Kat, it's a little bit further away from you, but what's the plan when you finish with us?
I also plan on doing a PhD, but beyond that, I don't know. I whether on academia or not, but a PhD regardless, just for an excuse to study more and learn more and spend more time doing things that I love doing. So.
Great. And Jonah, I already know your answer to this question.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to pursue a PhD. My thing actually is I wish that I'd kind of followed the same path as Kat, where I'd maybe spread the course out over 2 years. I also work part-time, so it's not been onerous on my time. But what it has meant is that I spent the first 6 months really catching my feet, finding my knowledge base, and that kind of restricted me, in my opinion, from thinking about going directly into PhD. So my plan is to do a research master's next year, and then after that follow up with a PhD. It sounds a bit like a lateral step, but I've thought it over and I think that's probably the most appropriate for myself.
Great, thank you. We've got notifications coming through that we're about to be wrapping up. So, I mean, I'll just open the floor. Is there anything else that anyone, would like to share in our last minutes? Are there any final thoughts that we haven't covered that people wanted to share with the audience? If not, and it looks like we don't have any further questions in the chat, then we might take this opportunity to wrap things up. I'll just reiterate what my colleague Angela has already said, that if you've been watching this and you would like to learn more, I mean, as well as all the obvious things like going and looking on our website, you are very, very welcome to get in touch with myself or with Angela to ask any questions. Angela, did you have anything further you wanted to add before we close things?
Yeah, just to thank all of our students for participating today, even the ones who thought they'd escaped, and we've dragged them back. Thank you, Tom, for reflecting back on your experience. And yes, just to echo exactly what you said. If anybody wants to get in touch, if anybody's not sure, if anybody's like Jonah and they want to send me lots of emails in advance of coming, I'm delighted to hear from you. So that's what we're here for, to talk to you about our programs and to give you a little sense of what you might experience on them. So do get in touch.
Great, thank you. And yeah, thanks again, guys, for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time, both our audience and our student helpers, you taking the time out of your day to chat to us. You've been far too nice to us, you students. They're going to think we've got guns to your head. But yeah, it's really, really appreciated. And I think we'll close things up there.